to these mailbag questions. Let's get right into them. Okay, first one. I like this one. What do you think of mixed martial arts such as Pride and UFC, and do you think it's a threat to boxing? This is from one of our friends and constant viewers and supporters, Justin Moriarty. Do I see it as a threat? Initially, my viewpoint, yeah, I do want to see it as a threat. It's definitely gaining ground.
Look at Showtime, what they're doing.
And UFC just bought Pride, of course.
Yeah.
It could be a threat, but I don't think it has to be. I'm not for the two competing. They're two totally different sports.
Yeah.
There's that kind of view of it, at least among boxing fans and MMA fans from the few I've talked to. It seems to be this rivalry that they're wanting to create. There's no need for it.
Just the fact is, Showtime's already making a move with it, replacing it with their regular boxing time in June, of course, and that's not a good sign for boxing.
No, it's not a good sign for boxing. Yeah. Can MMA hurt boxing? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It already is right there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm not happy about that. I don't have a problem with MMA in and of itself.
No, actually, I'm interested in it somewhat.
Would respect it, and as it becomes more easily available, I'll probably try to get even more into it and try to learn something about it. And it's
nowhere near as good as boxing, of course.
And another thing you were wanting to know about it, I didn't get all this in the email, in the mailbag question. You were also wanting to, you were saying that there's been articles written and things said that MMA is kind of like it's garbage compared to boxing or something. Again, they're two totally different sports, and actually from what I've heard from a boxing fan perspective, has been the other way around more, that if a boxer got in the ring with an MMA guy, the boxer would lose, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if it's an MMA contest, I should hope so.
I don't know. It kind of depends on who the boxer would be. I mean,
even so, I think most of the time, 99% of the time, even if the boxer is the best boxer, I think 99% of the time, if it's a top MMA guy against a top boxer in MMA, the MMA guy is going to win. He's got tools that the boxer has no idea about. He's just got a totally different training method. It's a totally different set of rules. You can go for leg holds, you can go for submissions. A boxer, the minute he's grabbed by a submission, he's not going to know what the hell to do. Or if someone gets his leg, he's not going to know how to react to that. It's not even a fair comparison. It's like, the analogy I always make is it's like saying Michael Jordan would beat Mike Tyson's ass in a game of basketball.
Kind of different. It is fighting at least. But
it's fighting, but it's still the same in the fact that they're fighting arts, but they're totally different fighting arts.
Definitely
one's an actual martial art, one's
just fighting
a sport
with your hands. Yeah.
One's a sport, one is something that can be applied to everyday life more easily, and I don't think it's a fair comparison, because at the same time, flip side, put an MMA guy, and you can put a top MMA guy against a mediocre boxer, and the boxer will tear him up.
Yes, definitely should, at least.
Now, someone like Valuev, who knows what he'll do?
Yeah, absolutely.
He might screw it
up. All right,
up.
well, let's just make a fantasy fight then of this. Say, Mike Tyson versus Ken Shamrock in a MMA or UFC fight, whatever.
Tyson is a different animal altogether anyhow. If it comes down to striking, Tyson, easily. But if
he lands on him, of course, it's over.
If Shamrock goes for leg holds and keeps Tyson away from his head, Tyson doesn't have much of a prayer. The fight will be stopped.
I think just
the submissions, Tyson, I think, would end up tapping. There's just no way any human can take the kind of pain that someone can put through some of these holds that these guys learn. I'm not talking about Shamrock's WWF ankle hold. I'm talking about legitimate holds that just, there's no way people can say they're impervious to pain or whatever, but...
Yeah, well, nobody's impervious to it, of course. But,
there's nerves in your body. If nothing else, you can be rendered unable to move.
Well, what about Steve Austin? He didn't tap to the sharpshooter.
No, he didn't tap to the sharpshooter. He almost lost to Owen Hart in a match where he would have had to kiss Owen Hart.
His ass.
Yep.
But
if I can't kick it, I'm gonna kiss it, and that's the way it's gonna be.
But anyway, getting back to
then he laid down immediately.
Yeah,
what was that about?
I know. But Shamrock versus Tyson. A fighter like Tyson or like James Toney, a street fighter type of person that has that mentality in them in a UFC type of fight, I would kind of favor them to beat the UFC fighter. Now, a guy like Mayweather, again, in a UFC fight, no, I don't see much chance for him because he's just a complete slick boxer. He doesn't really have that mentality in him to go right after a person like
and
that.
That's another distinction I want to make. MMA is, contrary to popular belief, MMA is still not street fighting.
Yeah.
MMA is a sport. At the end of the day, it's still a sport. It's a controlled fight. Boxing, a controlled fight.
Controlled fight, yeah.
And whenever you throw rules out the window, you really don't know what's going to happen. Because you can have all the karate classes, you can have all the boxing training.
Yeah.
When you're in a street fight, anything goes.
Yeah.
There's no telling what'll happen. Now with Mike Tyson,
I think Tyson in a street fight against anybody, not now, of course, but when he was at his best.
Tyson in a street fight is a scary thing.
Yeah, I think he takes anybody in the world, basically.
And even if he somehow doesn't, he takes out enough in the world to satisfy
absolutely.
Me. It'd be one crazy person that could beat Tyson in a street fight. And I definitely wouldn't want
to see that person.
I wouldn't want to piss them off.
Absolutely.
And they'd probably hate me.
Yeah.
Because I'd certainly probably hate them for beating Tyson in a street fight. But yeah, that's again, because street fight just totally different animal. You don't know what's going to happen. There's too many intangibles or whatever. Someone can pull a knife. What if the other guy
not considering all of that kind of crazy stuff, of course. Just
and if someone pulls a gun, it's not much of a street fight then. It's a murder then.
Anyway, but not considering that kind of thing. Just a fist street fight or kicks, whatever.
But yeah, okay. MMA, boxing, both good sports.
Yeah.
Both. I'm attracted to both sports in that they're both individual sports.
Yeah, one-on-one.
They're both fighting sports. Whenever you're in there, ultimately it's upon you to impose your will over your opponent. Now, of course, there are decisions and things, and I do not see how the 10-point must system can possibly apply to MMA. I don't really agree with that scoring system being used in MMA.
It's 5-minute rounds, I believe.
5-minute rounds.
3 rounds.
I'm not even sure exactly. Yeah. It depends on if you're watching UFC and all these others. Yeah. They all have their own different little rules, I believe. Again, we don't know much about MMA. We fully admit it.
Yeah, we know Ken Shamrock and
Hoist Gracie
and Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz,
Vitor Belfort. Yep. I know him. Tank Abbott, he's horrible. Freddie Mercury, I think.
Dan Severn.
Severn, yeah, okay. Wasn't crazy about him either.
No, didn't like him or Tank Abbott.
Don Fry, I'm running out of people. Rick Steamboat.
Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell. Don't like him.
There's some guy named Silva, Tim Silva.
Yeah.
I think there's a Vladimir Silva. Sure I pronounced that correctly. Flavin.
Yeah, he's good.
That homeless guy.
Oh, yes. The guy that, whatever.
I don't even...
Can't remember his name.
He looked homeless and he was crazy and he had a horrible record, but he beat this prospect.
A guy who was, I think, undefeated, or maybe just with one loss.
He was like 3-0.
On that Showtime card they showed the first ever one they showed on Showtime.
Okay, another thing, just on that real briefly, I thought it was BS that Frank Shamrock wasn't awarded the win against that Renzo
Gracie, yeah.
That was BS.
Yes, it was.
You need him in the back of that. So what?
Yeah, it's a...
How many of these things have I seen? Again, I might be showing my ignorance on the sport. How many of these have I seen where someone is pounding someone in the face?
That's what it is, exactly. So.
Or to the back of the head. Oh, but you can't use your knee.
Yeah,
your
that's
padded
really
knee.
Going past. That's really crossing the line, apparently. Well, just like when those cops are put...
And even if he did it on purpose, good.
Yeah. Well, cops, they're rough with people, but when you get them into the car, they're like, oh, watch your head, that really hurts,
I mean, I didn't like that result. I don't care. Shamrock won the fight.
Yep, we did watch that.
Regardless of who won the match. Oh yeah, Renzo could really celebrate that one.
Mm-hmm.
I won.
Yep.
At least he didn't pull a John Ruiz there and, yes!
After a draw.
I got knocked out. But anyhow, I got knocked out, but I still got the win.
Ruiz with his disqualification win over Kirk Johnson. And his draw with Holyfield, which he didn't deserve at all in the third fight.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Justin Moriarty.